I look at the working groups, the ad hoc working groups, and I just kind of want to add another group. I come from livestock production, but also in the last 24 years, I've had a lot to do with USDA's Food Safety Inspection Service and HACCP. What's that stand for? How many of you know what HACCP stands for? Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point. It's an acronym, right? And so when I come to this gathering, we've got all these new acronyms, and I'm writing them down and I'm looking them up, and it's difficult. But the point I'm making is, it seems like in our government that we look to acronyms to solve our problems, and I'm troubled by that because HACCP hasn't worked. That's pretty, a bold statement, right? But I guarantee it has not worked. It has allowed big packers to get bigger and small packers to have a lot more paperwork. And paper is not an intervention for pathogens. And so what you've done with HACCP is you've taken a productive kill floor employee that's good with a knife, and you've handed him a laptop, and he's not very happy, and he should be on the kill floor and practicing sanitary slaughter practices. And so I see this whole acronym thing, and I just, during COVID, we really got a test of our food system, and it failed. And the models of food production that we're looking at here in this committee is that same industrial model that failed during COVID. How many birds did we euthanize, foam? How many pigs did we bury in the ground that we couldn't slaughter? And you're shaking your head, Rebecca, but it was millions of them that we euthanized and buried. And the system didn't, how many grocery shelves were empty? But in my system that I built because I didn't like the other one 24 years ago, we never had an empty shelf because our supply chain is dependable, it's resilient, and we just went to work and produced more. Retail sales increased 300% during COVID, and we met that demand with no help from the government. I called the Food Safety Inspection Service administrator, and I said, we're just being hammered. Can we get a couple extra hours a day to operate? And this is in processing where you don't always have an inspector there. They come and go. Can we just get a couple more hours a day to produce and give our guys a little bit of a rest and maybe something to eat? It took them 5 minutes to answer the question by email, and it was a 2-letter answer, NO, no. What the heck? Why not? And so basically we got through it, but we've proven a food system that can be resilient, environmentally clean and friendly. And what we're doing is we're tweaking the big industrial food system that failed. And I just don't want to have to do that. I've got some ideas that could help on land application and, manure management and some things like that. But overall, I'd rather focus on, if I want clean water, if I want livable communities, I want to look back 50 years at an agriculture with lots of family farms, with lots of individual family farms producing pigs again on pasture, like Greg Gunthorpe does in Indiana, like Will Harris does in Georgia. These are examples of an alternative food system that serves us very, very well from an environmental perspective, a clean water, a healthy soil perspective. And yet all we're doing is looking at industrial systems and how we're going to tweak them and subsidize them, and ignoring the fact that those farmers, those people on the land that own those chicken houses and those hog houses that don't own the livestock are not making enough money to be good stewards. And maybe the answer comes to us from the Federal Trade Commission. Maybe we get some help from the Justice Department, and we start breaking up this concentrated power that's enslaving us and not allowing us to be good stewards. And, my point is I don't want to mess with the fuel mixture. I don't care about the diesel exhaust fluid. I want to pull the engine. I want to pull the engine out and put a new one in. And I want to redesign a food system that's safe, that's healthy, that rebuilds rural communities and that protects our water. Go to Guyman, Oklahoma. When that water runs out, Seaboard's gone. Go to Colorado. When that water runs out, Cargill and JBS are gone. When that water runs out at St. Francis, Kansas, the McCartys are gone that sell the biggest contractor to Danone. They are gone. But what's left in our community when the water's gone? And I want to see more grass. I want to see more livestock-centered farming operations where we don't spray Roundup everywhere or dicamba everywhere and destroy the environment. This is happening in St. Francis, Kansas, where I live. Dead trees everywhere. I can't even have a decent pasture mix because of the drifts off in the farm fields all around me. We've got one farmer in Goodland, Kansas, farming 30,000 acres with a spray rig and a no-till planter. That is not a sustainable system. So I want to get back to building the local regional food system that this government said they wanted after COVID, but then never supported. Never supported. Why in the world can't they buy from these local regional plants that we subsidized and we gave grant money to and we built? Why can't this government buy from them instead of JBS? Well, Secretary Vilsack said, because they're big, because JBS is big, we have to buy from them. Well, you know, to contact the owners, for a long time, you had to, you know, contact the prison in Brazil. And this is who we're going to deal with. And I'm just saying, policy has to change at the top to support the kind of food system we want. And I think we're wasting a lot of time thinking we're going to fix it with a bunch of acronyms and not address the fundamental problem of a highly concentrated food system that only serves corporate profits and not people. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mike.